and the outgoing and incoming president of Elkhart.
She hasn't been elected, but that's okay.
Okay, the proposed. Maybe it is a bit early. Is this appropriate?
We've got her. Yeah, I think we have more. Do you have time to get a picture? As soon as I figure out what I do with my camera. Congratulations on your birthday, which has already been announced. Thank you for the lovely cake.
So, yay, thank you very much.
Oh.
Here we are.
Pictures of everyone.
I'm actually just an administrator anymore, so. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Gary Maryville had their 75th anniversary this year, earlier this year, and that was their diamond anniversary. And I said, you are truly more valuable to us than diamonds. So I'm not sure what an 80th and 90th anniversary is, what the symbol is, but you are more valuable than diamonds to this organization because you do the work every day. At this point in time, we'd like to ask our Nick Whistle person. Would someone like to introduce our Nick Whistle person? Give her a...
I get to be up here with the gavel. It's very tempting. So it's my pleasure to introduce our Nick Whistle speaker. Jen Randall and I go way back. I think Jen was in one of the very first women's studies courses that I taught here at IU South Bend. She has been a real leader on campus, so when it came time to think about someone to propose for the scholarship for 2012, she was someone who immediately leapt to mind, and she immediately leapt to the computer right down the hallway from my office and started composing her application. And when I read you some of the things that she's done, it will come as no surprise to you that she won our state scholarship award for last year. She's a double major in women's and gender studies and anthropology. She's a Dean's List scholar. She has presented her research at the IU-wide Gender Studies Conference no fewer than 4 times. So most recently in Bloomington, we took 30 students on a bus to Bloomington a couple weeks ago to present research. It was really wonderful. She's also a campus leader. She is the editor, past editor of a campus journal called New Views on Gender that has both scholarly and creative work about gender and interrogating gender norms. She's a longtime organizer of the Take Back the Night March. She's been a performer and organizer in the Vagina Monologues productions on our campus, and also our local production, the Michiana Monologues, which we brought to Goshen this year thanks to the Goshen branch with their support. She has exhibited leadership in the Feminist Student Union on our campus. She has contributed to one of our AAUW South Bend. One of our major programs is the College Preparatory Workshop for High School Girls, and Jen on more than one occasion has been a mentor to girls that day, and that means a lot for them to be not just working with people like me, but to be really talking with college students and asking them, so what is it really like? Is it really hard? Are professors really mean? I mean, look at us. So the answer is no. We're just really tired. That's the truth this time of year. Jen has also, besides performing beautifully in my classes on many, many occasions, has collaborated with me in the Community Action Board of the local Planned Parenthood. So she really is someone who moves scholarship outside of the classroom into the wider campus, and from the campus into the community. So I hope you'll enjoy listening to her. She had a really fantastic experience at the Nick Whistle conference, and already has been hatching plans in my office for things that she's about to do next with these skills. So please join me in welcoming Jen Randall to the podium.
Oh, there it already is. Her PowerPoint's right there.
All right, good afternoon. First and foremost, I'd like to say that it's an honor to stand here before you all today and share my experiences from the conference this past summer, the National Conference for College Student Women Leaders. Most importantly, I'd like to express my gratitude for you giving me the opportunity to attend the conference in DC this past summer. This afternoon, I'd like to specifically thank Barb Canning, Jean Allen, and April Dinsky, and the State Governing Board for the AAUW. Prior to leaving for DC, I was excited as I'd be going to DC for the first time, and it was to attend a feminist-based conference for college student leaders. I was privileged to have the opportunity to be included in this group. This type of conference would allow me to take tools acquired from my education and apply them in a practice in a community of strong women, both inside academia and in a larger context, empowering women to empower their community. As a feminist and a leader on my campus at IUSB, I looked forward to networking, sharing ideas from my campus, and learning what other students are doing on theirs. This included trying to figure out how to get students involved when you attend a commuting school. Before I left the conference, I set goals for myself. One of these goals was to develop my leadership skills. I have always strived to be the best leader possible on campus, building coalitions and nurturing both the mind and feminist in action. I wanted to learn how to take ideas and move forward. At the conference, I found myself finding personal growth. A theme of the conference was learning to find my voice. It just happened that on the train, on the ride to DC, that was what had been going through my head. So, let me tell you about the conference. This right here was night one with the meet and greet, where we just went in a room and somebody had a theme and say, I identify as a feminist, and then it was like musical chairs and everybody would run around until somebody was left, and then they had to put a label on themselves, and then it was constantly just juggling around. So, and one of the things on an academic aspect was, last year I was editor for IUSB's student publication New Views on Gender, and I had brought a few extra copies along with me and were passing them out. Eventually, it began discussing gender, and the fact of how gender and sex are erroneously used synonymously frequently. And once it started going, I couldn't stop. By the end, the entire group of students on the bus wanted a copy, asked questions, and wanted information on how they could start a student publication on their campus. In this moment, I knew all the hard work was worth it, and because of you, I was able to share this information. The other moment that stood out was while doing the exercise where all the attendees had to congregate in a room, and they had adjectives placed on the wall. One was surprise. I stood under surprise because I was surprised that not as many women there identified as a feminist as you would believe. And I found that there were other women there who felt the same way, that they were surprised, which could be intimidating. In this moment, I was given the opportunity to educate older women as well as younger on what feminism meant. I had yet another opportunity in this discussion to know that I was where I was supposed to be, and this would be the start of my personal growth. There were many options for like workshops, which was really hard to choose, like which workshops you wanted to go, and they were all feminist based. There were so many great workshops to choose, it was difficult, and I based my decisions on what would be most fruitful to me, but also what I could bring back to my campus. Thus, I attended a workshop on the Consensual Project, one on conflict resolution, and on a personal one on how to learn with student disabilities. My favorite was the Consensual Project. I knew that Dr. Ladinsky would be working with her peers and students on this campus on the aforesaid topic, and I wanted to take notes so that I could come back to my campus and educate on what I had learned. I was also able to speak with other campuses on what they were doing in regards to sexual assault and sex education. The gentleman facilitating the Consensual Project had actually offered to give me his notes and his PowerPoint so that I can bring them back to my campus. Actually, because of this project, some of the pictures I was going to bring, I opted not to, because he brought the point of, like, when you think about consent, that includes the consent to have your picture taken and the consent to use it. So, that morning, waiting the bus on Capitol Hill, because of you, again, I was able to attend the early bird conference, which meant that I would be going to Washington, D.C. in the morning to spend it with women on Capitol Hill. This is at the Cannon Building. They had 4 women that were speaking from D.C. One was a politician, one was a secretary for a senator, and we got to sit and listen to their experiences. This is only a small group that were in attendance when we went to D.C. because they had options to go volunteer at different places, or you can sit and watch a movie. In fact, the movie that you were talking about, the one about the war, was actually a movie they actually had shown there. So, this is diversity at Capitol Hill. Now, right here it looks like there's a lot of diversity, and you know, there were people from all over the country and even parts of the world. However, in the larger scheme of things, the conference actually lacked diversity, and made me wonder how in the AAUW we could actually bring more diversity. One of the highlights was actually the Women of Distinction Awards. And one of the favorite people there for me personally was Michelle Martin, who hosts the show Tell Me More. It focuses on headlines and issues relevant to multicultural in America, and had a profound impact on me, as I will explain later. Another woman in here, Maggie Williams, was one of my favorite people I had the option to speak with as they sat and had roundtables after the award ceremony. She actually was Hillary Clinton's political campaign manager in 2008. Her and I sat down and we were talking about moving forward with rights. Somebody had brought up the mention of the regression of rights. My argument was that in order to have regression, we must have had progression. So, let's see. And then, I cannot pronounce this woman's name, so I'm just going to call her Akbar, Young Woman for Change. She is from Afghanistan, and she is actually working on how to promote gender equality in Afghanistan. So, these are just some pictures from the Women of Distinction Award ceremony. And while I was there, I did get to meet, you know, a group of friends who I've actually kept in contact with on Facebook, and we again have shared ideas, what's going on in your campus, how, you know, what works, what does not work. So, there are 2 keynote speakers, Lily Ledbetter and Maida Del Valle. I unfortunately was not able to see Lily Ledbetter speak completely, as there was a younger female who was having problems kind of fitting in and didn't know how she was even going to get home. So instead of to go listen to this woman speak, I felt it was in my best interest and the students to sit and help her through the hard time. Maida Del Valle is actually, she was on Deaf Poetry Jam, which does spoken word poetry, and she has commentary for social change. She has also performed at the White House for the Obamas. These are just a few images of my favorite things. This is the ceiling, actually at the in the Capitol building, and you know the arc of it actually interferes with like the way that the acoustics are. This is the ceiling, which is great because you take the mythology and then it's intertwined actually with contemporary things such as the phone cord. And then on my, my personal favorite, I mean, these are my heroes personally. So, and you have Stanton and Mott and Susan B. Anthony. And I know that it's because of their hard work that we are all able to stand here today. This was our last evening before we went. This was actually during the tornado that had occurred while, I was in D.C. So, and then, as I end my undergraduate college career and I graduate next week, I cannot think of a better way than to sum it up than by standing before you all today. One thing I would like to point out is Michelle, who had spoke at the Women of Distinction Awards, had made us sit and think introspectively for a moment. And when you see 500 college women, and you think about how many women are in college in general, how privileged and lucky that we were to actually be standing there. And then the other thing that they made us think about was that even though it was our hard work and our endeavors, that we could not be where we are without the hard work of family and friends and peers. And one of those would be Dr. Vadinsky. So as I stand here and think about the people that helped me go to DC and get where I am today, I know that it's because of IUSB, my professors, and everyone here that helped me get to Washington, DC. So thank you.